Guys, welcome back to the 5-Man Breakdown. This is Maurice here with
Dorsey. Today we'll be talking about the recent news in the NFL offseason, starting with the releasing of former 2019 number 1 overall pick Kyler Murray.
Numero uno.
You know, who was supposed to be their franchise quarterback, former Heisman. How do you feel about that?
I feel like being a number round pick, you know, it's probably been done dirty these past couple of years. You know, he's been bouncing from team to team. Kyler Murray, I feel like Kyler Murray, he can, dominate. He can excel when he needs to. Yeah. But with the pieces that were built around him on the Cardinals, I feel like his place was not there. I feel like a place like being a mentor for Mendoza, mentor for one of these young quarterbacks coming in is maybe the home for him.
I think he didn't really work well with Marvin Harrison. You know, he didn't have a greatest connection with him. That's their number 5 overall pick. That's their guy.
Yeah, I mean that's number 1. That's the first
starter. A lot, and you can't just at this point you just got to give up on that guy. You know, he's probably gonna go somewhere like maybe the Vikings where he compete for a starting spot. On the vet minimum. But the Arizona Cardinals still be feeling as they're paying him a lot of money. But
I do want to talk about the recent Houston Texans trade. I feel like acquiring David Montgomery for an O-line, a 4th-round pick, and a 7th is an absolute fleece. Yes. David Montgomery, Knuckles. Mm-hmm. You know, they split up Knuckles and Sonic, which is just devastating for the Lions community and their fan. But I feel like David Montgomery will go well with Joe Mixon.
I think the Texans might be planning on releasing Joe Mixon.
Yeah. Wow, another big name.
But David Montgomery, he could definitely excel, as a number 1
definitely
back.
Excel.
Texas O-line is pretty terrible, so
I think they might be going towards a different offensive scheme with David Montgomery.
He's a 28, 29-year-old guy. He's going to be getting a lot of carries. This could be the last couple of years of David Montgomery.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the Daniel Jones transition tag. Wow. Just not enough.
Transition tag means that it will be franchise tag, but he still can negotiate with other teams, but they can match the deal or if somebody plays a good offer. But I don't think anybody will be paying Daniel Jones anything close to $37 million.
He would not be getting
$40
$40 million from anybody else.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the Titans. I feel like the Titans gave up a beast of Sweat, a D-line. Beast is, Sweat is a really good D-line, and they only got Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, Jermaine Johnson, that's Rob Saleh's guy. But he, I don't know. He's been having some up and down rough years recently, but, maybe he could bounce back with his coordinator, they had him as an all-pro edge rusher.
Yeah, on top of that, the Cowboys, Jonte Williams re-signed 3-year, $24 million deal.
Let's talk about a guy who's probably been having one of the worst couple months in recent history, Stephon Diggs. Lost the Super Bowl, made it to the Super Bowl,
Lost
the Super Bowl.
Had like 5 yards.
Still has a lot, some off the field issues going on, and then now he's been released. Yeah.
I feel like that's crazy. So who do you think is a true wide receiver number 1 over there? Do you think it's Mac Hollins now? Do you think they see Mac Hollins as the true wide receiver number 1?
I don't think the Patriots have a true wide receiver 1. I think they're going to go try to acquire a guy like A.J. Brown. Now that DJ Moore, another guy, has got traded to the Bills. Now that DJ Moore has been traded to the Bills have their wide receiver 1 too. And so I think they will go out and try to acquire a guy like A.J. Brown, who's a top 5 wide receiver in the right system.
I really think with their draft pick, they should draft a guy like I really don't know who's gonna go number 30. Honestly, I don't know who's gonna go 30 to 31 or 32.
I don't think they'll be getting any number 1 dominant
wide
receiver.
Talent, at 30. At that pick. Because even a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the the mock draft. People like Mansfield Lane and Sony Styles were under top 10 picks, and now just seeing that Sony Styles come by and beast.
And on the note of the Bills, trading for DJ Moore, Josh Allen finally has got his guy. I think it is now a Super Bowl bust or bust type of year for the Bills. With Patrick Mahomes probably
who's in their conference?
Nobody. With Patrick Mahomes probably missing the playoffs, it's Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and the Broncos are definitely a contender. But
definitely a contender, but Bo Nix will lead the Broncos to glory. I feel like Bo Nix is.
I think the Bills definitely. It's no excuse for Josh Allen anymore. They have a receiver. They have the best running back in the game. They have the best quarterback in the game. They have a pretty good defense. They need to go out there and win a championship.
And it's really devastating. We are in the Mahomes era right now. That's big. Mahomes era. It's how dominant Mahomes has been. So without him in the league, But speaking on the Chiefs Trent McDuffie. They traded their cornerback number 1. Top 8 corner in the league, undeniably. Yes, he's maybe 5'11", but he's locking up your best guy.
He's definitely a top guy, top slot guy in the game. You know, he was a lower pick, but I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere.
The Chiefs are known for drafting and developing great corners. So I think this is a thing where they're trading, you know, and they're probably gonna pick up another corner, or they're gonna pick up Jeremiah Love for sure.
They'll definitely be either drafting or the Chiefs will definitely have another all-pro type of corner.
Yeah, 100%.
They always end up having that type
always
guy,
do.
cornerback.
You know, their front office somehow aspire. You know,
they're very good at scouting talent.
Very good at scouting talent. But I feel like the Rams are now a competitive team. The Rams, they will dominate with forces on the defense like Jared Verse, Byron Young, and Trent McDuffie.
Well, we're talking about a young corner, an old corner. You know, out of his prime now, Marshawn Lattimore was released by the Commanders after they just traded for him.
Marshawn Lattimore released? Yeah. Wow.
But you know, on that note, you know, we'll be wrapping up this episode of the 5-Man Breakdown.
You know, it was a pleasure to have you guys here. Thank you for watching another episode. It's been your host Maurice here. It's the end of the 5-Man Breakdown.